Okay. Sun. There's a woman here in this group of artists, and she has the Sun tarot card tattooed on her inner arm, and I quite like it. I think it's nice. It's not from this deck, it's from like the Rider-Waite traditional tarot, so it's a different illustration. I actually have a tapestry in my art studio back home in the States of her tattoo, the image of the Sun card from the traditional Rider-Waite tarot. The Sun and the Empress, it's beautiful. Oh, Lordy. This is not a good surface to shuffle on if I wasn't already lacking the skill. Makes it a little harder. This is just gonna be a quick tarot card pull because I brought my cards and I'd like to connect with them. All right. We just had a new moon in Gemini. That's what I'm pulling cards for, because new moons are all about new cycles. We're moving or waxing into new cycles. So I'm just gonna pull some cards and talk. I don't know exactly what will happen. Just one more, please. All right, we'll take you. Interesting. Bottom of the deck is the Three of Wands. Planning, strategizing, moving forward, creating alternative pathways to proceed, and thinking about what it is that we want, how our ideas can lead to. My AirPods are being weird again. I don't like them. Top of the deck is the Eight of Cups, which is also about going in a new direction potentially, but with emotions. So the first card out was the Moon. It's about hidden desires and dreams in the subconscious. I'm also just connecting to the thinking that I was doing earlier today about the things that we don't consciously realize that are holding us back in life, being able to look at those things honestly and release them and move forward. So yes, a new moon, a new cycle. Maybe I need to start over. I don't know if I'm equipped and grounded enough to do this right now. Let's see. Ace of Pentacles being like a new material opportunity, and what came out after that was the Seven of Wands, and immediately after this one we got the Six of Wands. And so the Seven of Wands, I'm seeing kind of like, you know, defensiveness or a need to protect ourselves or certain things, when really I think that if you're ever in a defensive position emotionally, you need to ask yourself what you're afraid of, right? What is the worst case scenario? Do you need to reevaluate and reassess, or, I don't know, apologize or change your behavior? Because it's like 7 of Wands and then 6 of Wands, which is about recognition and victory and being in a stable place and getting the things that you deserve. So it almost feels to me like we need to do, you know, an appraisal of things that we might not be consciously thinking of, but are patternistic. So, you know, a person might ask, how do I become conscious of the things I'm not conscious of? Look for the patterns in your life. Are you always being wronged in a certain way? Are you always having, I don't know, opposition in a certain area of your life? That's going to be the roadmap to what may need to be owned up to. So 7 to 6 is going backwards, and I also see that as re-looking at things. And this is actually what, you know, Saturn contributes. The transits of Saturn right now contribute to this kind of reflectiveness, reassessing things to see if there are better ways for us to do what it is that we're trying to do. Ace of Pentacles. And again, numerologically, so this is like a step back or a reassessment, I think. And then we got 4 of Pentacles, but also 5 of Pentacles. So I feel like stability is being sought after, but it's not being found right now, because I think it's one of these times where we do have to kind of pause and step back a little bit before we can go forward. 4 of Pentacles is a stable, grounded energy, but 5 of Pentacles being left out in the cold. And this came out first, and then this one came out. So it's like 7 to 6, 4 to 5. We kind of meet in the middle, and there's a place of peace and rest where we can pick a new path forward, right? As the 3 of Wands tells us. I'm going to cut the deck. If you don't do these things, the universe will do them for you. Towers, big changes, crumbling of realities and structures in order to give way for new things to build. You know, I'm also hearing something's got to give. So I don't know if that may be a specific message for somebody, but right before I heard that, I was going to say, the tower will always fall, right? The tarot is a cycle, a journey, a story, and it repeats. It starts with the Fool, it ends with the World. The tower happens along the way. It's part of life. So something's got to give. The tower will always fall. Also, few things will, how does that go? Few things will remain. I forget how it goes, but the truth will always come to light is what I'm getting at. Few things can never remain hidden: the sun, the moon, and the truth. Well, you know what I'm trying to say anyway, but things coming to light, basically the message that's coming through is that, like, even though we try to deny or hide certain parts of ourselves or certain things, we can only do that for so long. The tower will always fall. But there's a need to have faith in that process so that we can allow for growth. I said this yesterday. Stagnation is the bane of existence. If you let your mind stagnate, then, I mean, number one, it would be boring, but you know, you become susceptible to programming and some of the yucky stuff that's out there in the world today, instead of remaining conscious, remaining in the driver's seat of your own life. I love that. 2 aces. So this could be like a financial new beginning or a practical new beginning with some of the material aspects of our home. It could be as simple as like Maybe you want to paint your walls and just start fresh, right? That's a material new beginning. Or it could be an emotional new beginning. And the thing I love about the Ace of Cups is that I see it as it's a card of love. It's a card of, offering a cup, offering love, receiving love. But I see it as self-love too, especially with the new moon. New moons are very tender, in my opinion, because as far as, the moon in sync with a woman and her menstrual cycle, I just see it as a tender time. Not the luteal phase. Menstrual cycle is divided into a few different phases. So, what else can we learn about this time of transformation? We need to reassess some things. If we don't, our lives will change anyway, and it's oftentimes best to choose how we want them to change. And of course you can't do that all the way, but I mean, instead of letting, lightning hit your tower and then being entirely at the mercy of how the changes in your life are going to unfold. And oftentimes the tower is the result, towers fall as a result of putting things off or failing to acknowledge those things that we don't necessarily want to have to look at or deal with. So what further guidance can be of assistance right now? Page of Wands. I mean, yeah, the Three of Wands was at the bottom of the deck before. It's okay to have a beginner's mindset and go forth with, come on, AirPods. To connect it. Hopefully the audio doesn't keep, who knows. They keep doing funny things with my ears. It's okay to have a beginner's mindset and try things in a new way that you haven't done before. Because if you're trying to get to a place that you haven't been before, you might need to do things differently. If you keep doing things the same way, then you'll probably end up in the same places, emotionally or mentally, or literally with your relationships or job or life. So do take time to plan and strategize, but do so with passion, not from a fear-based place. And employ a new way of looking at things. What can I offer? Please give me a card that helps to elucidate the Page of Wands as it pertains to this energetic cycle that we are going through right now at the time of the new moon in Gemini. These AirPods, I swear. Okay, I got a few. I'm going to keep them. Oh, and bottom of the deck we have Temperance too. So balance and patience and allowing, right? I love this card because, well, first of all, I'm going to point out some details. If the camera would focus on the card, which it doesn't seem to want to. In between her, breastal region, there's a clasp holding her little cape up, and it has a triangle. And the triangle is, in the Greek alphabet, it's delta, and it's a symbol for change. And as we have these two cups and this water flowing back and forth between her hands, it defies gravity, and it reminds me of an infinity loop. My AirPods keep disconnecting and reconnecting. They're not at all low on battery. I apologize if in any way it's, hindering the audio. Hopefully it's not, and it's just annoying me, in which case I'm sorry to be interrupting myself and making it even more obnoxious. But so change, right? A time of change, but flowing with that change. And I like this idea of there is no end or beginning, right? Sometimes when we think about where we want to be or what we want in life and where we are now, it feels like it's too big a task to get there, but you're always going somewhere. So you might as well, you know, steer that ship a little bit more intentionally in the direction of your heart's desire. What is your heart's desire? The star. Wish upon a star, dream, wish fulfillment, right? So if we play our cards, pun intended, it's not that funny, properly, if we play our cards right, if we have the ability and the wherewithal to look at the things from the subconscious right now, for me, if I just venture to share, I'm thinking about why I have, you know, fears around creation and sharing my work, and what is happening within my psychology, within my soul, when I feel like I can't create, right? Releasing those blockages, trying to, like, it's a part of my existence that frustrates me, but I try to have compassion for myself and my journey and my process. Oh my gosh. Look at this gorgeous itty bitty shell. It's not gonna pick this up either, is it? No, it's not gonna focus on it. It's really cute though. And it is a shell. I know it doesn't look like one. Oh, it's useless. So for me, there are uncomfortable feelings within that, because I don't feel like I'm where I want to be with how I make things and how comfortable I feel with sharing what I make. And instead of suppressing the discomfort, I keep sitting in it and I keep asking it questions and I keep probing at it to try and uncover what's beneath the surface here, you know, and just have patience with myself. You're always at, you know, some point on the continuous thread of loop of time, so it's not like I'm, you know, late to my own life. No, you know, you're always right on time. Why am I saying this? I lost my train of thought. What I was saying is, if we can do this work of releasing, look how pretty. These are the best cards to read in the sunlight. Then we can have wish fulfillment at this time. Perhaps there are things that we've been wanting for a long time or blocking for a long time, and they can merge at this point as we release and allow simultaneously. So yeah, have the courage to do that. Say the things that you need to say. Move forward with haste. Five of Cups and Nine of Wands. I'm gonna get a clarifier. Actually, right from the top of the deck is what I heard. Oh. Oh. Okay. Five of Cups and Nine of Wands, right? Crying over spilled milk. Being defensive. So 9 wands, right? It's almost 10. It's a lot of wands, but they're all employed as like a fence to keep people out. And this is like, you know, failing to acknowledge the good that is, the 2 cups that are still full, for what has been lost. Now that can be a pretty fruitless thing to do. Of course you can cry about the things that haven't worked out, but someone else is going to come take those, you know what I mean? They're not just going to sit there if he chooses to keep focusing on the spilled cups. And I'd also like to point out how the kingdom, the castle up here, that's behind him too, right? So this is about a shift in vantage point. And I asked for a clarifier, and at the top of the deck was the devil, which is all about, you know, it could be addiction, but it could also be, what I'm getting off of it is like obsession, obsessive energy, and like also almost like obsessive denial, I think, is what I'm getting. Let's clarify another one for the devil, the 9 of... Yeah. Again, I'm going to go back to the Page of Wands here with what I just pulled, which is the Fool. So it's not time to get wrapped up in what hasn't worked out. It's not time to be defensive because, like I said in the video that I posted earlier today, if you, like a dog, right? If everybody gets hurt in life, but if you respond to new experiences with old reactions, then you're not present in your own life. You're not allowing the universe to show you new people, new places, new things. You're not welcoming that energy in and responding to it appropriately, and that's going to keep you in the same place. You know, there's going to be a stuckness around that. And that can be unhealthy. You know, and the Tower's coming back up in my mind because whether or not you like it, time does pass, you know? Sometimes it's like we feel like we're at the mercy of time passing, when really we're passing with time. We're changing and evolving and growing as time flows back to Temperance with this kind of continuous, infinite water current. It's not time to stay still because it never is. You can't ever linger in this 1 second. So keeping on theme with the things that I've been dwelling on lately, stagnation is never going to serve you. It's always good to keep moving, and this is, with the new moon, start of a new journey, the Fool. Taking a leap of faith, allowing yourself to try things with a new type of plan. Let's keep going. My goodness, all of a sudden I'm ravenously hungry. Eating a lot of food here in Italy, but hey, it's okay. I, as a person, have come to accept that my weight will just fluctuate, and I will take care of myself, and sometimes I'll be in great shape, and sometimes I'll have a couple extra pounds on me, but I'm always going to be healthy, and I'm always going to, you know, respect my body and take care of it in the way that it deserves and not be unkind to it. You know, as best I can. As best as I can. Italy is not the place to be watching your figure, to be honest. Here we are. The Knight of Wands, okay. So we have the Knight of Swords and the Knight of Wands. I'm actually getting, the message that's coming into my mind is cautionary. So there's a lot of like, this whole reading, this whole energy, this whole transit, whatever, you know, Saturn's doing, the new moon, whatever, astrology aside, it can sometimes feel as if it's like, you know, plan, but not too much. Be open, but be discerning. Move forward, but take it slow. You know, a lot of these like contradictory things. And here's yet another one, which is you are to move forward with a leap of faith. You know, start a new cycle that's based off of a wish that you've held for a long time, you know? You don't want to keep yourself in a stagnated mode of being defensive based on how things have been in the past. And there's planning that you can do with a new type of mentality to assist you in bringing the, you know, the truth of your soul that has no words or shapes. It's just formless. Bringing it into the emotional state and then taking it one step higher, bringing it into the mental state, and then bringing it out of your mind altogether and saying like, I am capable of this, or deserving of this, or whatever it may be that makes it real beyond the self-limiting belief, the self-imposed limiting beliefs. What I was going to say with this, what I'm getting off of this is, but don't be in your ego. Don't be too brash and brazen about certain things too, because we have to keep in mind, we have to remember, you know, why it is we choose to affect change in our lives in the first place, you know? We need to want things for good reasons and be honest with ourselves about that, right? And what I was talking about before, like, it's okay to want abundant finances. That's not selfish. It's but how we give to others, how we give to ourselves is important. So I'm not saying if you have a lot of money, you must give to charity. You are fully entitled to use your money however you want, and everybody is. But if we can get in our own way if we manifest from that type of position, or maybe it won't be successful is a better way to say it. So that's getting a little convoluted. In fact, I'd like some clarification on that energy in the form of another card. Okay. Queen of Pentacles. One more. Actually, two more. Emperor. Okay, buddy. All right, well. Yeah. Queen of Pentacles, the Emperor, and the Wheel of Fortune. So the Queen of Pentacles, ultimate stability, but she's not a pair with the Emperor, right? The Emperor is like all of the kings. Queen of Pentacles is not the Empress. And I don't even know why I'm saying that. But they're both strong energies of stability and abundance. Also discernment I'm getting with the Emperor. The Emperor often, is not often or ever confused because he's observant and in control of his choices from a healed place. My AirPods are doing this thing again. And then with the Wheel of Fortune, it brings me back to the idea that you can't stand still in time even if you wanted to. I still require a little bit of clarification on what's really happening here at this point in the message, because I was saying, in a line with Temperance, right? The Knight of Wands was giving me this need to pump the brakes a little bit. And why? Because we're looking for long-term stability in whatever, it is, right? Because we had, well, they've all gotten mixed in now, but the Ace of Cups, the Ace of Pentacles. So there's potential here to create multiple new beginnings, or one big mega new beginning that encompasses multiple categories of your life, right? These aren't quick changes that it's like, I'm going to do something different. Next week will, look different because of that, and then things will go back to normal. This is sustained long-term shifts that are going to bring in the fulfillment of wishes if we move forward in a calculated way, without going too fast, but also not holding ourselves back. So having enough courage to move forward and have clarity of the mind and of the heart. Being really poised in the strength to do the things that you believe in, and allowing for that to yield what it may, right? Because sometimes the immediate result of making a change in your life does not bring the result that you think that it will, but give it time to blossom. I see the visual that I'm getting is an ink dropper or food coloring being dropped into a water basin. That's like the change we make in our life. So it hits the water, it blooms, it immediately, think about that on a molecular, cellular level. How cool would it be to look at that interaction through a microscope, right? The second one thing changes, everything changes. And I mean this to say, if you make changes in your life, it is in your best interest to allow them to kind of bloom before making more changes. Which kind of dumbs it down, actually. I don't think that was the best way of putting that, but I hope that it makes enough sense. I'm going to just do 3 more cards off the top and conclude. So what, if anything else, is important to know right now? Yeah, I mean, just more of the same, right? The world is here, so we've got, like, just powerful transformation, right? This isn't one of those quick changes. We have the world, we've got the Ace of Pentacles, we've got the Ace of Cups, the Star, Temperance. I pulled a lot of major arcanas in this reading, which goes to show that the energy is strong. But also the world, that's major cycles. That's not just, you know, the small things or the small choices. These are big parts of how we've been living our lives or how we want to live our lives. And again, to make a personal example out of it, my art practice has been a huge part of my life, and it will continue to be a huge part of my life. So me trying to sink into what holds me back from being the best artist and creator that I can be, those are big questions for me. It's not like I'm just sitting around twiddling my thumbs. I'm in an existential contemplation around my life's purpose. So these are big conversations, right? It could be whether or not to end a relationship or move to a different city. These could be big things that are closing out. And what came out with the world is 2 of Pentacles and Page of Cups. Two of Pentacles, right? While we're cultivating these next steps and stages, we may have choices to make. In fact, every moment is an intersection with infinite choices, if you want to look at it that way. And so I think it is a good time to, this goes back to the energy that I was picking up on earlier in the reading, but don't just do things that the way that they've been done because they're not going to yield different results. It would be time to, say in the morning you have a routine. This is a metaphor. I'm not really speaking literally, but you go through your emotions and you're fully on autopilot. You're not thinking. It's not the time to live life that way. If you usually brush your teeth and then spit and then run a comb through your hair, take a little pause and maybe hold the comb with your left hand instead of your right hand, and give your body and your mind and your spirit an opportunity to take up space a little bit differently than you usually would take up space in your own life, whatever that means for you. So see every moment as the seed of potential that it really is, because we sometimes think that we aren't able to do what we want, right? Again, a lot of the beliefs that we possess are self-imposed, limiting beliefs. I don't want to speak for anybody else, but I see a trend out in the world where a lot of the beliefs that people have, a lot of the reasons, I'll say it this way, a lot of the reasons that people will provide as to why they can't have or do what it is they want to have or do ends up being something that they actually have more control over than they think. And somebody said this to me one time. I want to start 3 different businesses, actually, and I think that I will. Based on the way that sometimes I can hop around in time and see different future potentialities, I have nothing but full confidence that I'll be able to do this in my life, and this is part of my path. But someone said to me one time, like, you think you need to have, one of my bug bites is showing, that's yucky. You think you need to have a certain amount of money or a certain amount of, recognition or exposure or visibility or this or that in order to start a business or in order to move your dreams along. But what can you do today, Does it involve just even making a little bit more of a crisper outline for what that vision looks like? Maybe you need to start saving money, taking it seriously. Even if you put aside $5 a week, that's still something. It's also transactional, right? Money, energy, it's transactional. So it doesn't matter how much money you'd be putting aside. It's you telling the universe, using the tool the currents of energy, of money to invest in the future. And of course the money would add up over time, but more importantly, it's the intention that you imbue it with, the act of saving and investing in that plan. My point is, we have the opportunity each and every day to do things differently that will yield different results. And I don't want to say it's never been a better time ever to do that, but that's kind of how it's feeling. Like, it's just, not to say it's easy either. It may not be easy. It may not be easy, but it very well may be necessary. And if we're not open to our own evolution at this time, then we're going to be, I see the visual I got was Chicka Chicka Boom Boom. It's a kid's book. Coconuts. No, I'm seeing a monkey in a tree and somebody shaking the trunk in to get the monkey to fall out. You don't want the world to do that to you. Or your life, rather, right? Sometimes stale circumstances will eject us. The tower is kind of a violent imagery for a reason, right? Because that's supposed to represent jarring changes that are unforeseen, shocking events. And then Page of Cups, vulnerability I'm getting as well. Optimism with vulnerability. Being vulnerable with yourself, if you need to kind of own up to something, as I was talking about in the beginning with like these personal conversations. So if there are feelings of discomfort, do not push them away. Spend time with them, like meditate on them and ask them why. You know, there's always another layer to peel back of, why do I feel this way? Why do I keep doing that? You know, whatever it is, just keep sifting through it, you know, with a sieve. We can always take, and that's not to say ruminate in a negative way. I just mean with the curiosity of a kind person who wants to help, because that's how you should be to yourself. If you're stuck in rumination, then give yourself a break. One more to wrap up. The Hanged Man. Yeah, it's in reverse, but I don't read reversals, so. Another major arcana just to wrap up. The Hanged Man. Yeah, right? I mean, I just was talking about self-imposed limiting beliefs. How are you suspending yourself right now? Could you take a different vantage point on an issue to see an alternative way to proceed? If you look at things in different ways, yeah, I mean, the Hanged Man's a pretty good summary of what I was talking about. If you look at things in different ways, and I was talking about the food coloring dropping into the water basin. Even if you hold your toothbrush with the other hand, right? And again, it's a metaphor. I don't mean literally. I just mean like when it comes to the day-to-day of life, if you dare to do something a little bit different, it has a much more profound impact than you might think. And you can let time pass as you move with time to see the impacts that those changes are having, right? Course corrections, allowing for changes to give back to you, right? So this is talking again about the dodecahedron prism. Oh my gosh. Well, I have to talk about this now because it fell out of the deck. This wasn't part of the reading. It came off the top of the deck. It's the Ten of Swords, but I'll get to that. The dodecahedronic prism of self. Nope, I lost my train of thought, so, well, I could pause the video, but I don't feel like doing that. I'm just going to trust that it wasn't meant to be. Perhaps it would just be redundant. Yeah, I don't know. 10 Swords. So again, this is the end of it. You can't go any further than this, right? He's done. It's time to start a new journey. And we have as easy a road ahead of us as we choose to pave with good intention Well, now, of course, I'm thinking the road to hell is paved with good intent. But showing up in our lives, being able to do the course corrections as needed once we see the impact that certain changes, however minor, I mentioned a couple different areas of life or ways that this could be relevant at this time for anybody who may find this video. Consider it a timeless video. It doesn't have to be watched on the day that I'm recording it, which is the summer solstice, June 21st, 2023. You can watch it on any day that you may find it. And hopefully there's some messages of insight or for you in it whenever you find it. But strategizing enough to be calculated, but not over-engineering things and allowing things to settle. Yeah. The artist. Plan, manifest, conceive of, draft, revise, and continue. What can we see as that? And now I just can't stop. 41 minutes. I never know how long these are going to be, but I know that if I say it's going to be short, then it typically isn't. Just one shuffle. What can we see as the kind of like next steps or incoming energy as a result of this new beginning that we're embarking on / ending that we're closing out? New energy incoming, our next steps. Perfect. I wanted 2 cards and I got 2 cards. Heck yeah. Queen of Wands and the Ace of Swords. So Queen of Wands, wands being, right, fire sign, fiery energy, passionate, but also creativity, right? That passion, fire energy, that for me is like sacral chakra energy, root chakra, idea driven, and having that clarity of mind and that prowess to be able to, and also like there's a cat in this one. I see that as being like, and the lion's heads, right? That feline, feminine intuition. But it's not, cats are soft, but they can also pounce and be quite destructive if they choose to. And then the Ace of Swords. So the only ace that we didn't get is the Ace of Wands. We got the Ace of Cups, the Ace of Pentacles, and the Ace of Swords throughout this reading. Queen of Pentacles and the Queen of Wands. I mean, there's gonna be a new way to express ourselves as a result of these changes that we're moving into. So the new cycle, Ace of Swords, or potentially it could be something good news incoming for you. And that's it. So I hope that was helpful and inspirational. Yeah, that's it.